What's up, everyone? My name is Jim. Hope you're all doing well. I am a professional saxophonist, composer, and educator living in New York City. And today, I'm giving my younger self 4 pieces of advice. I love this as a kind of rhetorical, educational tool because it gets you thinking about the problems that you may have had as a younger player and also how you solve those problems now that you're here. Obviously, these aren't like give myself the winning Powerball sort of a piece of advice. That doesn't make any sense. We're talking about music, we're talking about saxophone, and ways to improve that. If you like this content, consider hitting the like and subscribe button, as well as commenting down below. It helps this tiny channel out quite a bit, and also continues the conversation. I want to know what you would tell yourself if given the chance. So here we go. First piece of advice I would give myself is the music does not live in here. The music lives in here. Now, what do I mean by this? When I was younger, I spent a lot of time on technique exercises and other sorts of things to really get my fingers moving as fast as possible. I thought that was the best way to get to playing how I wanted to play. And I didn't spend a lot of time developing my ear and developing my inner musical imagination. The music needs to be in here, or if you're sentimental, in here, before it ever comes out of your instrument. If you can't imagine or sing the piece of music that you're trying to play, there's no chance that it's going to come out of your instrument. So I think a lot about this book next to me, Ram Blake's Primacy of the Ear. He talks a lot about not only traditional ear training, such as interval training and learning what chords sound like what, but also ways to integrate things that you hear into your sound and how professionals have gone about doing that over the years. Moving away from just finger and technique exercises really helped me develop my own musical personality instead of someone who just could move their fingers very fast. The second piece of advice I would give myself is to engage with your weaknesses and don't fear them. So let me give you an example. Over the course of my career, there have been various times when I didn't really want to listen back to myself. And I think everybody has had that sensation of like, oh, that already happened. Let's move away from that. So I had a really big breakthrough when I actually sat down, instead of just listening to myself, I actually sat down and transcribed the stuff that I was playing on gigs. And that taught me way more about my style than sitting and practicing for 4 or 6 or 10 or 25 hours. I was forced to engage with the things that I was actually playing on stage. Your ability to deal with the things that you suck at will define your playing. Maybe it's the high end of your horn is out of tune. Deal with it, figure it out. Don't just sweep it on the rug like, oh, it'll get better over time. No, steer directly into it. And I think that's generally how I've made the most progress in the shortest amount of time. Find those weaknesses, find those challenge spots, and really engage with them. The third piece of advice I would give myself is to get very specific with my music and don't oversimplify things. So when I was younger, I was really into funk. I was really into kind of Maceo Parker or even modern jazz saxophonists. As I was starting to work in more rock and funk bands, I kind of simplified all of my improvisations down to pentatonics. This was okay. Like, it helped me play a lot of funk gigs and a lot of other non-jazz gigs. But what I found was it was kind of a really limiting approach to dealing with some of the more intricate and complex music that I was also playing at the time, jazz and classical. This was something that kind of followed me all the way to when I first moved to New York. And I really had to kind of go back and dig deep into small parts of the bebop language, for example, to really get into that sound and really understand what those players were doing. Otherwise, I was just kind of faking it. I wasn't really playing that language, and I wasn't playing what I was hearing. If instead I had started by thinking small little chunks, small little blocks, and building my foundation from there, laying each individual brick by brick, instead of trying to cover the widest amount of space in the shortest amount of time, I think I would have been better off in the long run. The fourth piece of advice I would give my younger self is to protect your ears. Anytime you're playing with large ensembles, anytime you're playing with amplifiers, you're probably doing permanent damage to your ears. And tinnitus, the constant ringing, sucks. It's not fun. So get yourself a pair of custom-made earplugs. They're not that expensive. I think I got these for less than $200, and they've lasted me a really long time. Get a pair, use them as often as you are able, and don't take this for granted because, like I say, tinnitus sucks. Not being able to hear some of those very intricate details when we're in the recording booth, that also sucks too. So fortunately, I caught it fairly early for myself, but it's constant, something I live with. That's my 4 pieces of advice for myself. What would you tell yourself if given the chance, and why? So thanks for watching this video. Again, like and subscribe if you're so inclined, or don't. And have an excellent